Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You are watching KUHS, the stream. And this is the Weekend Boost. I am your host, Paul Lane. And guys, we're so grateful to have you guys. We have so many things coming in the news. And, those of you who follow me know that I like to have a lot of opinion, what's going on politically. We have a wonderful guest today, and you know that I always talk on women's issues, so this is going to be a very, very exciting show. Stick with us. Tell your friends to tune in. We got a great show for you today. As always, I like to talk about some books that I recommend, books that I'm reading, the books that you must read. Guys, I think it's really important for those of you who do read to get this book in your hands. Howard Zinn wrote this book, A People's History of the United States. I mean, I can open this to any page and you're going to be shocked at the things that you learn about the history of this country. And it's really important for you to know because you live here. I talked about that book last week, and I'm going to talk about this one again, and these books, all of these again. Michelle Alexander wrote The New Jim Crow. Jim Crow laws were supposedly abolished after slavery, but Jim Crow continues to this day. Did you know slavery is legal in this country? Did you know that we have the highest incarcerated population on earth? Did you know that the bulk of our incarcerated population is black and brown people? Read The New Jim Crow. You gotta have this book in your library. The Hate Next Door. Guess what? When you live next door to a Vietnam veteran who's a supporter of the guy that you're against, it can be very difficult. This is a very eye-opening book. I just received it. I have not had a chance to read it, but I guarantee you this is a wonderful read. I've been hearing wonderful things about it. Upcoming guests, I have Carmen Baca coming on. Carmen Baca is a wonderful, prolific author. She's written so many books. We're going to be talking about mystical moments and magical encounters. This is her second to the most recent book. I'm telling you, she's prolific. And we're going to be talking about her book, El Hermano. She's from southern Colorado, northern New Mexico area. And Carmen is a wonderful, wonderful author and a personal friend of my wife and me. And you also know, if you watch the show, that I support CALMA, Colorado Alliance for Latino Mentors and Authors. And they have the anthology. Guys, if you are looking for some pleasure reading, I happen to have 2 poems in here. The anthology is a wonderful collection of short stories, poetry, essays, and just a very entertaining sit by the fire, sit at night and read. I love to read books out loud to my wife, and this is a wonderful book that you must have in your hands. Last is I am the author of The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. This is a book that talks about the chronological order of my first wife's passing. I was just talking to Maria, my guest, 17 years ago. I was in hospice with her, and she was in the last 2 weeks of her life. I didn't know that at the time, but we had been in hospice almost 7 straight months. 2 people a day died in that hospice center, and so twice a day I would see the door close and I'd see a gurney go by with a body, and I got so close to death that I don't even fear death anymore. But the point I'm trying to make is this: I said every day, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times sometimes, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. We're in a very dark time in this country right now. This too shall pass. We can only ride out this storm and just hope that we can survive it. But I personally believe that better days are coming. If you follow the stars, you know that the time of the matriarchy is here. It is upon us. It's going to take some time to come in fully, but the time of the matriarchy is here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and continue with introducing my guest, Maria Gonzalez. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Gracias.
Yes, my pleasure. Maria has an organization called Adelante. And I've talked about this before, but this is an amazing statistic. Men own about 8 million homes in America. Women own over 10 million homes in America. Women make 84 cents to the dollar over men, under men. And that is saying something very, very, very powerfully about the incompetence of men, the irresponsibility of men, and the intelligence and the capabilities of women. Who can do so much more with so much less. And that's one of the reasons that I speak on women's issues so much and so fervently because it's a very important issue to me. Maria, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for the invitation and the ability to show and share the work that we're doing with Adelante
Yes.
and the Latinos, especially Latino entrepreneurs in Colorado.
Yes. Women are starting businesses more than any other group.
And Latinas even more.
And Latinas top that group.
Yes.
And so when I hear that, I mean, it makes me so excited because we're facing so many issues politically with the removal of DEI. I never say DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because shortening it really just diminishes the real impact of what it is.
Absolutely. Yes.
In your bio, you talk multiple times about equity, equity, equity. There's nothing wrong with equity.
I don't think there's anything wrong,
No.
except not applying.
Yes.
Not working on equity and creating those spaces where really community feels the sense of belonging.
Yes.
You know, the opening of opportunities and creating a path of that sustainability. And more important, you know, the work that we do is creating that economic mobility.
Yes.
Making sure that through entrepreneurship, individuals are able to create that path. You know, they work really hard, put all of their money and their ganas.
Yes.
You know, that willpower.
The desire.
The
Yes.
desire that, yes, you know, I'm going to do, if I'm going to open a restaurant, it's going to be the best restaurant, the best employees, hiring, creating jobs within the community, and creating culture
Yes.
and sense of belonging in
Community.
those areas. Community, which
Yes.
I think it's so important to build, especially nowadays.
Yes, and you know, community, for me, community means so much more than just the neighborhood you live in. You know, I go to native sweat lodges. We went last Saturday to one, and it was so wonderful and so fulfilling for me. And the word community there means it takes on a whole new meaning. And so when I see organizations that are developing women, and I think of community, I get so excited.
Yeah, we live this excitement every day. Adelante really got started about over 10 years ago. I am an entrepreneur myself. I've started a few businesses, and like many other businesses, trying to figure out how to grow it, how to make money, because ultimately as a business owner, you want to make money.
Yes.
So I've had all of those challenges of starting up, you know, finding the clients, finding the business location, understanding. My major business was an insurance agency, and so it was really hard. I started around the financial crisis in the 2008, and it was really challenging to start up a business, and I didn't have those technical skills and that support. I didn't go to school, to college. It was all lived experience.
Yes.
And so as a Latina, and a particular Spanish speaker, there was no support. I belonged to almost every chamber you can think of, paying the memberships, attending the meetings, but chambers really wanted for us to pay the membership and go to golf tournaments, but there was no meat, like no
It was all
information for
superficial.
us. Superficial. And I think, you know, there's a space for business owners to be at chambers when they made it, right? Because, you know, I was struggling as a business owner. And so chambers were not my best fit. So that's when I thought, who can help us? As a Spanish speaker, Latina, starting a business, who's there to help? Small business development centers had limited Spanish speaker technical assistants or mentors. Minority business office didn't really offer a lot of help for us. Small business administration was really hard to reach. And so I figured, well, if it doesn't exist, what do we Latinos do? We create it.
Wow.
So that's how Adelante came to be a Latino-led organization to service Latino entrepreneurs in Colorado. And we first started just in Commerce City with a group of individuals. Fast forward, we're really a statewide organization where we have people from the mountains, rural areas, and just really all over the place. And thanks to the digital opportunity now, we're able to do digital interviews and technical assistance virtually, one-on-one, and really travel to those needs that continue to grow. Because Latinos, we're opening businesses all over the place.
Yes.
We see an opportunity and we jump.
And so how far does your organization extend? geographically? Is it nationwide or is it local?
It's Colorado wide. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we mostly Denver Metro. We do have some businesses that are outside of the Denver Metro that we consult with, that they need, especially business compliance. Some of the issues with business compliance is talking about equity, right? And they're not equitable. There's a lot of barriers. Particularly in the food truck industry, which is something that we've been working to try to remove burden of too many regulations. And so the food truck industry is one of the areas that we work a lot with entrepreneurs. And so for most business owners, when they're going to start a food truck, they have to have the city, the county permits, the fire department inspection, the health department inspection, city tax, depending on each one of the cities. So tax, and then the Colorado state tax, the employee payroll tax, and we're talking about between 9 and 14 licenses to operate in one municipality. So when we support these entrepreneurs to go through their business compliance, it's really hard and expensive and time consuming to make sure that they are really obeying the laws for every municipality they show a presence in business. So we've been trying to work with legislators to really bring business compliance fair, remove bureaucracy, and streamline processes, which I think all of us want to do.
Yes.
But there's a lot of egos in politics, Every city wants their own process and procedures, and I think it's important and it's valuable, but coming together to what makes sense for the industry and have the opportunity to innovate.
Yes.
We can't have systems that have been in place, especially in food trucks, talking about they've been in place for restaurants, not necessarily for mobile units. And the way that Adelante sees the food truck industry is like the Ubers of the taxis, right? Restaurants have been there a while, but there's significant amount of restaurants that are closing because of the overhead. So people are moving both ways. They start a food truck and then they go into a restaurant, brick and mortar building, or the other way. It was too expensive to have a restaurant, which we know overhead is extremely expensive, and then sometimes they go back to a food truck. So ultimately, we want to make sure that individuals comply with the business rules and regulations, but we also want to make sure that Colorado is open for business. So they understand that it's complex, it's expensive, it takes a lot of time, and there's not a lot of technical assistance for individuals that are creating businesses. And even though we might have websites, the city, the county, the state, Colorado Secretary of State, or different organizations that have established information, it's not all in different languages for community members to go and learn about the process. Then we also have a lot of notarios that take advantage because they know the language, they know the system, and they ensure you that everything is going to be passed on your inspections. There's a little bit of fraud happening around the area of food truck business legislation. So opportunity, that's how I see it. Adelante, the term Adelante, or the name Adelante, is moving forward. So we want to make sure that business owners, entrepreneurs really move forward with the technical assistance that we do, the classes, the business accelerator, the mindset that we bring as we are doing their coaching and their mentoring for them to feel that sense of belonging, like this is where we belong, this is where we can thrive because of the learning and the support that they receive. So it's fantastic.
It's really, honestly, I see this as creating a level playing field.
Yes.
I have a theory about diversity, equity, and inclusion and why they are eliminating it. Because when there's a level playing field, they can't compete.
They can't compete.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yes, and so it's it can be intimidating when you have privilege and you see equity. It's perceived as oppression, and so we have to be very, very cautious about. And I mean, the people who are in the industry have to be very cautious about traps, and they have to be cautious about fraud, and have to be cautious about people who are celoso, jealous of them.
And then when do you do the business?
Yes.
Right? If we have to worry so much about thinking about starting a business, right? Right now with the digital area, you have to have somebody that does your marketing, your branding, your sales, your accounting and bookkeeping, your human resources, and the small businesses, that overhead is a lot. And so the easier the barriers that are removed,
The
just,
streamline.
yeah, you make it so much easier for you to operate a business, be happy being operating a business,
Yes.
and thinking about how do you create jobs within the community rather than removing those jobs and paying yourself less. You know, at the end of the day, it's a business. We want to make money. We want to make sure that we have a better quality of life financially.
Exactly.
So that means, how many burdens that these business owners have to go through. Traditionally, legislation goes to the benefit of consumer, which I agree. We're consumers. We want to have our rights be protected as well.
Sure.
But Colorado, according to the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, on the scale of 1 to 50 in business openings and business friendly, is number 39.
Wow. That's not great. That doesn't speak highly.
Business regulation in Colorado is it's extremely hard. And for the community that we work with, which are Spanish speaker entrepreneurs, they might be bilingual, but traditionally the ones that come through our office are mostly Spanish speakers by preference. Then we have a whole bunch of other layers of barriers that they face. And so thinking about how do we move Colorado from 39 business complexity to maybe in the 10s or 20s?
Yeah.
That means a lot of collaboration.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, that's opportunity for so many people.
Yeah.
And, my wife and I, we don't go to chain restaurants at all. We don't go to fast food. We don't go to any chain. We go to food trucks.
And supporting local.
Yes, and local
businesses,
women
local
and minority-owned businesses. That's what we try to do all of our business with.
That's wonderful. I wish a lot more of individuals would consider that because, we as community members opening a business is very hard. We put all of our intentionality, all of our money, and if customers don't come in, we lose. And when we lose as entrepreneurs, we lose our families.
Exactly.
Right? That financial support.
Your livelihood, everything.
Your livelihood. So support any opportunity that you have to go into your local supermarkets, your community-owned markets, restaurants, food trucks, artists.
Absolutely.
Go support them.
Yep.
Chains have major marketing dollars and ways to get money. So whatever we could do to support them.
We don't go to Safeway. We don't, unless we absolutely have to. We never go to King Supers. We go to Save-A-Lot. We go to Asian markets. I always tell people, walk the walk. And I said, well, I better walk the walk myself. And so we do, and we love it. Yeah. I haven't bought a new pair of clothes since October 7th, 2023. You shop at the Segunda, man, and we love it.
Why not? Absolutely. I think it's time for us to really be purposely. Like, how do we see community? How do we see opportunity for each other?
Yes.
Right? And there's a space for everything, and I respect, of course, but be intentional.
Exactly.
I think about the most important times in your life. One's when you're born, and then the second one is when you find your purpose. And I think that's what you have gone through. You found your purpose, just like I have. And be intentional. Every decision that we make, how do we make sure that we are consistent with our thought process of our intentionality?
And then our actions match that.
They have to match it.
Yeah, but if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the support system, how can you ever move forward with an intention? And so it's really critical to have people like you and I don't want to say make those opportunities, to avail or to present these opportunities in a way that an entrepreneur can look at them and say, oh yeah, I can do this. This is not the impossible dream. Here's a laid out plan that A, B, C, D, E, all of these things I can do. And so it takes a vision to a reality.
Yes, absolutely. Because of the challenges that I've seen with entrepreneurship the last 10 years that we have been as an organization, I decided to go back to college.
Wow, good for you.
So in May, I will be graduating with my major in entrepreneurship. And as a Latina, first generation, graduating next month, it's such an accomplishment. But what I'm thinking about education, what I've learned in my journey as an entrepreneur, lived experience, and then what I've learned in books is so different.
No
It's
kidding.
really so different, right? There's no right or wrong way to go to school first or start a business, right? But I think, people spend so much time in education and so much money in education, and you really need to start living life.
Exactly.
And maybe at the same time that you're doing your education, and that's what we try to teach other students. Like, you are already starting a business. Let us give you the book on how to make it easier, but experiment in your life too.
Exactly.
Like, do those mistakes early on, but let us guide you when you're ready so that we can streamline processes for you, create systems for your business, create operational and administrative systems that are going to make your business be more successful.
Absolutely.
And there's no other organization in Colorado that does that.
Wow.
There's, of course, the educational organizations that you have to go and get a degree, but intentional to work with Spanish-speaking Latino entrepreneurs every day to teach them how to run and operate businesses. There's no other organization. So
man, that's
it's
great.
huge.
Yeah.
It's the responsibility and accountability for us. It's huge. And so we're always looking for volunteers, either professors or other business owners that have experience that are willing to come back and mentor our students. And our students, the majority of them are women, about 35 to 45 age groups, and they're hard workers. They're chingonas.
Yes, absolutely.
They're trying to do their best, raising a family and having a job sometimes while they're jumping on their business. So as many more community resources that we can bring into the organization, please bring them over.
Open the doors. Open the doors. Yes.
Yeah, like you have so much experience, writing books. We have some of our students that want to tell their stories. We have one of our entrepreneurs. She had come in from Mexico. Her and her family and her 2 kids started a food truck or a hot dog cart.
Wow.
5 years ago. Fast forward, now they own 4 food trucks.
Man, you see a little vision and a little opportunity.
Support.
Yes.
Knowledge.
Because so many times when we go into it, we go in blind and we don't, even with the education, that doesn't, it said that the world is full of educated derelicts. Calvin Coolidge said that. But the thing about it is, the education is not the final step. Like you say, you need hands-on. The best education is getting in that food truck and making food, and yes, going through the process and getting all of the permits laid out, putting that all behind you so that you are able to go and not have to worry about that and all the other obstacles that are there to trip you up. But they're not there to trip you up, but they happen. That's what they do.
Yes. Our organization is very intentional about meeting the needs of our community, right? During COVID, that's when we exploded with the services. There was no other entity that was supporting business owners with COVID solutions like testing, education, best business practices. So we stopped all of our educational programs to focus on vaccination, testing, and really educating our business community. And it was really hard. Of course, like many stories that we hear. But when I was calling people about our classes, like, hey, we got this class, and they would tell me, Maria, like, my employees are dying, my family's dying, like, we don't want classes. Are we going to even survive, right?
Wow. Right now, we're just trying to live till tomorrow.
Yeah, it was really, really hard.
Wow.
Fast forward, the ability to have an organization that could really pivot to what is needed, which is needed, right? We vaccinated over 16,000 community members.
Man.
But we went to the flea market, the Mile High Flea Market, and put in a clinic inside. And, having conversation with the State Department of Health, things like, no, why are you doing a clinic at the flea market? Nobody's gonna show up.
No.
And talking about intentionality, we have to go where people is at,
Yeah.
meeting them where they're at, and we did. We had no knowledge on vaccines, of course. It was new, no knowledge on health resources, but we put together, tents, tables, chairs, uh, volunteers, and really did a lot of the intention of nobody's going to be left out of this process. It's either testing or vaccination or just the mindset support to get through the process will be here. And we did successfully, and I'm so grateful because so many people came to support, either volunteering or the health departments of Colorado in different counties as well, and they came and they supported. And when they came to see us at the flea market, it was like an eye-opener, like, wow, they've got 3,500 business inside the flea market.
Wow.
That there's no services that come to them, right? And these are people that are working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to sell and to really have a better quality of life, but they're not touching other services like your traditional hospitals or clinics or traditional organizations that have been there for 50, 60 years, right?
Wow.
So it was incredible.
How did the naysayers respond to all of this? Was there a lot of resistance from this, or were they saying, "Oh, go"? Or how did that?
There was resistance from the State Department of Health. They couldn't believe that when I called to order 1,000 vaccines, they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing with these 1,000? Like, we don't have 1,000, right?"
Wow.
And then remember at first, there was different age groups and demographics really being targeted for first doses, and we didn't know much about it. So what I wanted to do is making sure that we had the information and the knowledge and the resources immediately to the people that I knew it was going to be left out of this resource. So we had that, and then I think we were able to build the trust and credibility as people came to see it. But we also had some haters that would come into the flea market and tell us, like, you're killing people.
Oh, sure.
All these nasty things. But when we saw the lines and lines of people coming in to get vaccinated without having to pay them or without having to convince them, because they came because they knew, and because we built the trust, it was rewarding. Like, it doesn't matter if it's one person that comes or the 1,000 that we did, several of those. But it's really creating this, again, the sense of belonging in the opportunity, right? We have it, here it is, you want to take advantage, we're here.
Wonderful,
right? So it was a great learning experience, and how we had to move fast, that's how I feel right now. Like, we're experiencing another COVID. Like, this is like a political COVID. And so for our organization, we have about $7.5 million in federal funding that it's probably not going to come. So it's very critical for us to know, like, who are the funders out there that could support our work, that could support our mission. Because the political COVID that we have right now, it's not being an ally to our mission. It's not being supportive to Latino entrepreneurs and Latino community, and it's devastating. And so I don't want to get emotional because it's really something that we've experienced, right? But I want to make sure that to know, like you said earlier, and these too shall pass.
Yes.
But in the meantime, in that process, how do we fundamentally create this foundation of support, of value given with us that work in this space, of creating trust and creating equity space, and really thinking about, if it's not us supporting each other, then how, when, how are we really going to move forward? And how do we take this as another learning lesson of building collaboration and building support and creating a much more streamlined process of aligning each other within our mission and creating support. Either organizations or government entities that believe in our work, but also funders and mentors that can support me as an individual with my leadership position, but also our staff and our community, right? It's a big deal.
Yes, absolutely.
Big deal.
Wow. Hey guys, if you're just joining us, you are watching KUHS The Stream. This is the Weekend Boost, and I am your host, Paul Lane. We're talking to the director of Adelante, Maria Gonzalez, and we're talking about opportunities for Latinos, Latina women specifically in the community. And it seems to me that one of the things that you specialize in is thinking outside of the box.
Yes.
Because, like you say, we're in this time right now, and we are in a political pandemic. And this is not the time to sit back and say, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? This is the time to gather your thoughts, collect your audience, collect your community, and unify.
Absolutely. And that's a message that we've been carrying across our network. You know, Adelante is building the largest Latino entrepreneur coalition in Colorado. Literally, there's no other organization in Colorado that has so many Latinos. Last year alone, in 2024, we supported 620 Latino businesses to launch with their business compliance, with their access to capital, and creating a path for them to be sustainable. So, one organization alone helping 620 businesses to be created in 1 year.
That's huge.
It's powerful.
That's powerful.
These Latino businesses are creating jobs, right? So let's ally around support of these minority businesses and create a path. Like, what is the path? So many of us, especially coming from minority families, business is the way of better quality of life.
Absolutely.
It really is, because even if you have a job right now, most jobs are not going to be, especially in Denver, you cannot have a house. You cannot afford or attain a house if you have just your basic one job. You have to do a hustle job.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's what we do. We carry, okay, you're doing a hustle job. How do we make sure that that really becomes not just that, but
not just a hobby, but
not just a hobby, like a real business with the complexity removed, but your mindset and your money in one place. Let's get you to be a business owner, right? But not everybody's going to do that. So if you're not ready, we still want to mentor you. We still want to give you the resources, and so that people that are in the borderline, right? Because we still need individuals that have their own medical coverage through their work.
Sure.
And many of us know that when you start a business, you might not be able to afford your own medical coverage, and that's extremely important, right? So we help them through the whole process. Right now, we're going to start a major endeavor for Adelante. We were able to secure funding to buy a building.
Wow! Right
yes,
on,
huge. So we bought a building here in Westminster, and we're going to start looking into creating the capital campaign. So reaching out to potential funders that can help us. This is going to be a commissary. We'll have commercial kitchens. We'll have training laboratories for food. And so we want to make sure the community really rallies around supportive of these building. We're going to have an innovation center for Latino entrepreneurs, or any of the community entrepreneurs that want to come in and start their business, especially in food, because it's so hard to start out of their homes. It's not legal, right? So we need spaces, and those spaces are pretty expensive, or they're already booked so much that nobody has access to. So this new place in Westminster is going to give us that intentional location where people could come and learn and use those spaces to create their own food and drinks or desserts or anything that they want to create, and then sell, right? Start an incubation food truck or incubation food business. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be fantastic.
Man, this is awesome. This is incredible. I just can't even imagine where this could be in 5 years.
Yeah.
This could really, really take off and become, nationwide. If someone's watching right now and they wanted to reach out and support you, or to be involved as a student, how would they reach out to you? How would they find Adelante?
There are several ways. Best way would be to call the office, which is 720-651-3784. You can also find us on our website, which is adelantecommunity.org, and our social media, Adelante Community on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those channels.
Si quiere hablar en español.
Y en español, nos pueden llamar a la oficina con mucho gusto. Para todas las personas que quieren comenzar un negocio o ya tienen un negocio y no saben cómo crecerlo o cómo hacerlo una manera formal, nos pueden llamar a la oficina, que es al 720-651-3784. También nos pueden buscar en las redes sociales como Adelante Community o nuestra página de internet que es adelantecommunity.org. Estamos todos los días de lunes a viernes ayudándolos y nuestras clases son en las tardes y en las noches para que tengan ese apoyo. Our classes are taught nights and weekends as well. We accommodate our schedules to the need of the community. So we do in the morning, we do the one-on-one business coaching, consultation, mentorship, scheduled, and then in the evenings we do the classes.
Man.
We have the Sal y Pimienta food truck program. We teach on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Literally, by the time they graduate on Sunday night, they know how to run and operate a food truck. They have a business plan, they have their menu, they have their vision, their mission, their competitive organization as a new organization, and it's incredible.
Wow.
People are so happy.
Man, this is so exciting to hear. You know, so many times when you see someone trying to start a business, you see so much struggle, you see so much strife, you see so much confusion. I know I had a construction company and I would wear, you know, the safety hat, and then I'd wear the marketing hat, then I'd be the construction guy, you know, that gotta be the guy that throws the trash, you know, I know, and so it was very overwhelming for me to be in that position without any kind of knowledge of where do I go from here, or how do I take the next step. And so, you know, as a result, I didn't have a real successful business. And
it's hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah, in fact, for a business accelerator, which is a 17-class program, the business accelerator, we teach twice a year. And right now we're getting closer to the graduation, but the very first exercise, we bring 12 hats.
Wow.
And each one of the hats has a different title. Like, you want to be the boss, you want to be accounting, or legal or marketing. So every hat. So at every one of our classes, we bring the hats, and so when students are coming in, they wear the hat. Today I'm going to be the legal department.
Great.
So when we're going through the class, we ask, okay, what is the legal field answer for whatever question we have, or what is the marketing field that they need? And so, like, we have a different, real hands-on, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure that all of those hats have the respected time in your day?
Exactly.
Or your week, or your
to balance
month,
yourself.
To balance.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can't.
Yeah.
You just cannot run a business if you don't know, if you're not creating that space for each one of those business operations.
Exactly.
And yes, the space, but the skill. So where do people learn the skill? You know, yes, the lived experience, but Adelante comes and teaches you. Like, our class on Thursday was about your P&L. And people were like, oh God, I have to budget?
Mm-hmm.
And then
forecast.
And it was real scenarios.
Wow.
And people were answering questions. Oh my God, you know, I need to plan ahead how much money I'm going to have to pay for marketing in my season. If I'm doing landscaping, you know, when is my season? When do I start getting customers? And it's just a major endeavor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go to a business school, they teach you how to run a business, but if you're not operating in it, you don't get to use those skills until maybe future time.
Then you go work for a landscaper instead of becoming the owner, el dueño.
El dueño, yes.
Yeah.
We want people to be the owner, el dueño, to make the
Yes.
decisions to really create that sustainability. So our classes are so unique and they're so wonderful, where we can, no judgments. Like, if you don't know, you don't know, but you're here to learn. We're going to teach you. I'm going to teach you the most basic ways so that you make sure that you learn, you implement, and you apply that knowledge so then you can be successful.
Yes, yes. I've heard it said that luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
When you have someone helping you to prepare, you're going to feel so much more confident. With every decision you make, you know you're making a decision based on knowledge that you've attained and prepared you for this opportunity. And when this happens, you're so lucky.
Yeah, like, how did you get so lucky? Well, I practice, you know, prepare, learn.
Yeah.
And just like everything else, there's going to be some students that they probably think they know it all, right? And then they don't. They
Can't
don't.
teach 'em.
You can't teach them. You
Mhm.
can't teach them. So we've had a few of those, especially younger,
Oh yeah.
and then they come back
And
later.
male.
And male,
I'm sorry.
yes. They know it all, and so when they come back, we, no judgment. It's okay.
Yeah.
You come when you're ready. We'll teach you when you're ready, and move on.
Mm.
But there's significant, right now our current cohort, we have 43 students. 43 adult students that are
Man.
Spanish speakers that are learning how to run and operate a business. We work in construction. The majority of our entrepreneurs come in food and beverages, then construction, then business services like nail salons, beauty salons, hair salons. There's a ton. Something that was really great, a lot of organizations like Adelante worked with the governor of 2 or 3 years ago to create an opportunity for Latinos or minorities that have a tax ID number to have their business license for specific licenses such as insurance agents and beauty parlors.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're officially able to get a license and do their thousands of hours to study, then we're able to leverage that training that they have to now teach them how to run the office business. Because many of them were running a business out of their home,
Mm-hmm.
or hiding it because it was not legal. They couldn't really get a state license, right? But now they can, and so we're able to teach them how to do it the right way, how to get your license, your permits, your inspections, and making sure that you are charging the right way, now that you are not working from home.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the past we've seen a lot of people that had worked in homes or mobile home parks. But now people are coming out and saying, yeah, I want to have an office. I want to have a building. I want to be able to create a place where people come in and get more customers. So it's a huge eye opener, and there's
Wow.
so much opportunity. There
Wow.
really is.
Now I can imagine that there are a lot of obstacles that a Spanish speaker would face that a native-born American person wouldn't have. I mean, not just the language barrier, but I mean, there's racism. There's this mentality of I always hated it when people would say or think that Mexicanos are not intelligent because they speak Spanish, and it's like, you don't understand. They know your language and their language. And I want to shout out to my friend Beto Terrazas, his family. He passed away 2 weeks ago yesterday, and they buried him a couple of days ago. And I forgot to say that in the opening, but Beto, I miss you so much, and I love you. And Ruby, his wife, I just want you to know that we have you in our thoughts and prayers all the time, and we miss you.
Absolutely, and Beto was so loved by so many, and he was always in kermeses and supporting the community.
Oh man.
He was definitely one of those people that you wanted to have on your corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that as we continue to learn more about our lives and our purpose, we're all going to die, and some people just leave earlier. But his huella, what he left, is always going to be remembered, because he always had good intentions, and he gave a lot and probably took away from his family, so much to give. And so respects to him, to his family that had to see all this process of cancer. It's horrible. But I saw the love at the funeral. I saw all the people, all the love and caring and support. And so he was definitely somebody that will never be forgotten for the love that he gave to community. So,
absolutely.
Que descanses en paz y que tu familia consiga pronta resignación.
Did you know that Beto Terraza sold more albums than Vicente Fernandez?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he told me
That's
that.
probably all Colorado buying
Yeah,
2 or
he's
3.
big in Colorado. Yeah.
Big, yeah.
I always try to, when I hire people, I try to hire Mexicanos or Venezuelos, and they always knew who Beto was. I saw him in Chicago, and but I'm sorry to get off track. I just wanted to make sure and just make sure and put that out there for my friend.
Yeah, barriers. Latino, Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs face significant barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the language, but I think the language, it's a lot easier now because Our children that are bilingual are helping us through navigate through those process. Some of the barriers are fraud, fraudulent negligence. We have notarios. Notarios, notaries, they're not supposed to do a lot of legal work, and so they get to charge whatever amount they feel that they can get away with when doing their business registrations for people. And they don't do them right. Sometimes when I see the Secretary of State of a business that comes to our office, either the name is incorrect, or their last name is misspelled, or their address is incorrect, and so not creating like 100% perfect documentation. But then we also have another barrier of the digital equity. So a lot of our entrepreneurs through COVID experience, they realized that they needed to be online, having a website, having a social media, but they don't know how to do that. They don't have the time. We interviewed 150 entrepreneurs about the major digital barriers, and they said, one, they don't know how to use it. Two, they don't have the time to learn how to use it. And three, it's too expensive. So if you think about right now with the AI, almost anybody should be able to use to create a website. But our Latinos, especially the work that we do in the community, they have no idea what AI is or how to use it, right?
Yeah, as a boomer, man, I'm telling you, it scares the heck out of me.
Yeah, a year ago when we started having some of the AI classes, like this is how you can use this to create a menu, and they're like, what? It's incredible. It saves so much time, but you don't know the prompts, and you don't know, and then so how much information are you giving out? Right. So the privacy, the data privacy, and really controlling your information, and so there's a lot of the digital skills that are still lacking, right? So we created a digital literacy window where every Monday at our office we teach how to use computers, how to go online, how to create your website, how to use Google Drive, and just so many different topics that we teach them. So yes, the notarios that are taking advantage, or other professionals that take advantage, but in the digital, one of the pirates, we call them website pirates. So people that know how to do websites, right? They go into a business, especially restaurants, and they offer, like, for $3,000 a month, I'll get your website and I'll do a social media. But the business owner gives them full control.
And they don't even know how to change the price of a soda pop.
Nothing. And they don't know how to get into the website. They don't have username or passwords. And so there's these individuals that know how to use the system and come in every month, like, give me $3,000 and I'll have to continue to give you access. And so it's such a disadvantage because they don't know, right? And also communication. We've had a business owner that had to close her restaurant because of social media lack of communication and lack of knowledge. So she had a really bad incident. There was a cockroach in her plate of a customer, and the customer really wanted to confront the owner, and the owner didn't know how to handle the communication. So the owner was hiding under the sink of the kitchen, and the customer came live on social media, putting like, look, there's the owner, she doesn't want to, give me a free burrito again, or whatever, right? So it was so sad that this business owner couldn't even come to the client and say, look, I'm so sorry, let me give you free burrito for life, whatever, Make it right. And so because they didn't have that knowledge and how to handle that situation, it got so bad in social media that she really had to close because she couldn't have any more clients, and it just got terrifying for her. She got threats, and it just got so complicated. So our entrepreneurs also need communication skills and to be able to know how to make things right. She wanted to make things right, but she felt threatened by the customer. And then being on social media, it's embarrassing, right? Almost anything that we do now, we should consider because it's somebody's recording or doing something, right? With permission or not. So it's very uncomfortable. So there's significant barriers. Another barrier is financial. Our Latinos get no money.
They're the first ones cut off.
Everybody,
It's,
yes.
yeah, it's almost like this country has some kind of a, I don't know, I don't even wanna go there, that's
They don't
another
want
show.
us to excel, that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
They
because
don't
like I
want
said,
us
an
to-
equal playing field is a threat.
It's a threat, yeah, we become a threat,
Mhm.
right? So economically, we literally have to save all the money that we need to get that business going.
Mhm.
There's hardly any loans because, either legal documentation, credit,
Wow.
right? Or just the fact that there's not available.
Mhm.
Very small amount of funds are available. So financial, it's devastation. So we really have to know like our network, our family, and all the savings to put into that endeavor. So, and if we lose it all.
Yeah, it's
We
not
can't
just
afford.
yeah, not just an endeavor, it's everything,
Everything.
everything's on the table.
Everything, yes.
And so there, you have to be very cautious, and if you're not prepared, if you're not educated, if you're not knowledgeable, how can you succeed?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and we Latinos are very risky, of course. I mean, we cross the borders, so we're very risky. But we sometimes open businesses without really having to know the whole enchilada.
I'll learn as I go.
And learning as we go becomes more expensive.
Much
And
more.
So what we try to do with our business entrepreneurs, like really teaching them, okay, this is a process. When you're getting to have this level of a process, like if you got 6 out of 10 of the process, then let's launch, you know. But many people that have come in first, they've already launched, they had to close, and then starting over, right? And it's expensive.
Sure.
So there's a lot of barriers, but I think there's also mental barriers, right? How much, or in your mindset, how much are you really able to sell your product, your service? How much do you really know? And those barriers that we have personally prohibits us from growing and really creating a bigger business. And so we break into that. We have a morning breakfast every Monday, and it's called Adelante con Ganas. And we teach them like, okay, you might have mental blocks. It's okay, but we do energizes, we do exercise, we do reading. We have different books that we read as a group, and then we have positive affirmations that we write every Monday, like in commitments. Like I am committing myself to do 1, 2, 3 steps, and then next Monday, we check on you, like, did you? And what were the barriers that you faced by doing 1 or 2 or 3, right? So bringing that mindset, and I think that's why Adelante is very different from other organizations. Like we hit the digital, we hit the business, but we hit the mindset, mental health, right? Your well-being, your nutrition.
That's so critical.
It's critical.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs do not have time to take care of themselves. They work.
They're the last one paid.
Last one
They're
paid.
the last one to go home, the first one in the door in the morning. I understand.
Right? So we teach them, no, you gotta get paid, right? You gotta know your worth, stand on your worth, and start taking care of yourself. And plan your nutrition. Really, and that was something that I had to learn personally. I got really, really heavy when I was in my business. I never made any time to eat. I had a lot of beverages that I shouldn't drink, sodas and potato chips and all of that. And so I got to 240 pounds, got really sick with diabetes. And until I became priority myself, then I realized like I need to be able to teach people that it's okay to eat healthy. It's okay to make yourself move away from the business and take a break.
You have to.
You have to. You have to go eat. You have to go exercise. You have to do some sort of activity.
You as the owner are the most important resource.
You're the
There's
pillar.
nothing more important. You're the pillar.
You're the pillar.
Yeah, and then you hold up the entire organization.
But it's so hard because we don't. And when I was that business owner, I just always assumed the client is right. That we have to do everything for the client. We have to do everything for the employees. But no, you cannot take care of the clients and the employees if you don't take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
So I learned that the hard way. And what my hope is that people don't have to learn the same way that I did, right? To really take care of themselves and be intentional about eating habits, workout, and what you consume, because this right here could give you cancer of what you read, mental cancer. everything you read and it comes on your social media. So taking care of ourselves, our
Wow.
hearts, our mind, and really thinking, okay, I'm not going to concentrate on those negative things. This is what I have control over my life, and I'm going to make myself priority in order for us to do what we need to.
And when you can do that, it makes it so much easier.
It does.
I heard a story of a boy that was, his dad was writing a sermon. He was a minister, and the boy was just really, well, come here, I want to talk to you. And he got a picture of a man on a magazine, and he tore the page out and he ripped it up in little pieces, and he put it out there. And 2 minutes later, the little boy says, "I got it, Dad." And he goes, "How did you do it?" He says, "Well, on the front is a man, but if oh no, I'm sorry, it was a picture of the world." And I got it backwards. He said, "There's a picture of a man on the back, and I put the picture of the man together, and I know that if the man is right, the world is right."
Oh, how beautiful!
And so what you're saying is that when you have a well-rounded a plan, and when you have good direction, and when you're able to see all of the possibilities, then the opportunities just flow. The opportunities are much more readily available to you.
You have to be intentional about it.
Intentional.
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But the sooner that you understand that it's all within you, it'll make it easier. It'll be better.
Man.
And you're holding yourself accountable.
Yes.
Because you cannot hold others accountable until you make that decision.
Absolutely.
So it's a hard journey. I've enjoyed through this process, and I know there's a lot of opportunities coming. And yes, this political pandemic will pass, and we'll be much stronger and much greater in the work that we need to do in our communities.
Absolutely. One more time, give us the information if someone wants to reach out to you. How do they reach Adelante, and how can they find you?
Absolutely.
In English and Spanish.
In English and Spanish. Okay. Para la comunidad que quiere ser parte de Adelante, pueden llamar al 720-651-3784. Pueden también buscarnos en las redes sociales bajo Adelante Community y en la página de internet que es adelantecommunity.org. For any of you that want to support Adelante in any way, or want to be part of our classes and support, you can find us on our website, adelantecommunity.org, or social media at Adelante Community. And you can also call the office, 720-651-3784. We're looking forward to partner with anybody that wants to give us support and really believe in our mission and make sure that we are aligned in creating better opportunities for Latino entrepreneurs in Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Guys, I close every show with my slogan on the show, and that is this: everybody is looking for a hero. If you can't find one, be one. Maria, thank you so much for being a hero. You have inspired me so much, and I'm just so grateful to have gotten the opportunity to be with you and talk to you today.
Thank you.
Guys, stay tuned. Mr. International is going to be coming up, and Paul Chavez has so much to share with you, and he has some wonderful music for you. And as always, there's good programming on KUHS day and night, weekends, holidays. It's always here. It's always here for you. Henry Archuleta, thank you so much, Jefe, for being here for the community and for making this opportunity. Thank you very much, guys. I will see you in 2 weeks. We'll be talking to Carmen Baca. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias. Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you.